Yeah, look, I'm Jewish, and I've been to Israel 3 times. I've also been to Palestine. And I've said that both parties are at fault in this situation. The Hamas attacks on October 7th were horrific, along with the kidnappings. And the response that Israel has done, the heavy-handed response that are killing civilians, along with Hamas, is wrong as well. I'm not a fan of Netanyahu and so forth. But there are important facts here that a lot of people like to gloss over. And that is what you mentioned. Hamas does not want Israel to exist. In fact, they don't communicate directly with Israel because they don't consider them a sovereign country. They consider them occupiers. So you have to go through the Palestinian Authority to actually have a conversation with Hamas.
Right.
And Robert O'Neill said something very interesting in our interview. He said, if Hamas put down their weapons, the war would be over. If Israel put down their weapons, there'd be a genocide.
And that's what they've stated.
Yeah. From the river to the sea.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem is when you have all these college students, free Gaza and everything else like that have never been to Israel. Have you been to Israel?
Yeah, twice.
Right. So you understand that Israel's not going anywhere. It's a first world country. It looks like California.
Exactly.
Right? There's billions of dollars behind it. It's not, it's not, the old city of Jerusalem is just the old city of Jerusalem where there's dirt roads and stuff like that because it's a tourist attraction.
Yes.
Everywhere else, there's high-speed internet,
100%.
Skyscrapers.
Very sophisticated country.
Very sophisticated.
Very advanced.
It's not going anywhere. At some point, Hamas and Iran and Hezbollah need to just accept the fact that Israel is here to stay. There's too much infrastructure. It's there. You might as well try to figure out a way to work with them as opposed to figure out a way to just wipe them out, because it's not going to happen.
But they don't want to work with them. They've stated it.
And that's the problem.
They don't want what do you call it, two-something state. They don't want it.
Yeah, they don't want a two-state solution.
Yes, they don't want a two-state solution. They've stated that.
Yeah.
So, but, I understand, look, emotions are high on both sides of that. Yeah. But, that's my position on it, and I'll stick with it.
Yeah, and I'll stick with my position. But I've publicly said both sides are at fault. At the end of the day, if someone from a different city came in and kidnapped my family, I can't blow up that whole city.
Right.
Right? I got to figure out how to go after the kidnappers. And if they're hiding behind citizens, I have to somehow figure out a way around this. I can't just bomb the whole building because one of them is there and there's 100 other kids and women and so forth around them. And I understand they're hiding behind the citizens, but you have to figure out a way around them. You can't just carpet bomb whole areas and expect the world to support you, because it's going to be painted a certain type of way. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Netanyahu. I'm not a fan of how they're handling things. But I'm also, anti, Hezbollah, anti-Hamas, anti-Iran. And what's interesting is that when I've spoken to people like Eric Prince, who's the founder of Blackwater, who I interviewed recently, this is the guy who had the biggest private army in America at one point, who was stationed in all these countries. He said, without blinking, that Iran is behind all this.
100%.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, without getting too far along into this, if we had a strong America and a strong president who would have stopped this, it would have never happened, because Trump at least had Iran under control, had them broke.
I agree with this.
And Biden went in and made them strong, and they sponsored both of these.
Yeah.
Hamas and Hezbollah.
Yeah,
it would have never happened.
Yeah, I agree.
So the bottom line is the United States is responsible for this war.
Partly, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree. I agree. No, Trump was definitely more hardline. In fact, there was a major Iran general that was killed under Trump. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think there's actually like a price on Trump's
specifically, like a number of other things that this guy screwed up, and this is Biden's fault. You cannot have a weak America. It's chaotic around the world, and he's shown us that in the past 3.5 years, 4 years now. He's the cause of all of this. Bottom line, this guy needs to be thrown out of office and let him go out and enjoy the rest of his life. He's a treasonous guy. He sold his vice presidency. There's no question about it. Him and his son and his brother. treasonous. He's destroying us, what he's doing at the southern border, allowing, you got Venezuelan groups that are taking over apartment complexes. Why didn't they go after these groups like they came after us? We weren't doing that to people in the streets. They're allowing this stuff to happen. You know, he made a statement the other day that, you know, Trump supporters are garbage. He thinks all of us are garbage. And that's how he's treated this country in the past several years. And this guy is the worst president in my lifetime for sure, maybe in the history of this country. And the woman that's following him, God forbid, I'm going to tell you this. If this woman becomes president, we are done. She is.
We'll see what happens.
She is incompetent. She's a laughingstock around the rest of the world. And I had to say my piece because you have a big platform. I've been saying it. People know.
I understand that some people are pro-Kamala, some people are pro-Trump. I understand both sides of it. I can honestly say right now, this is October 30th, 2024, as I'm saying it. I'm going to guess that Trump is probably going to win this election.
If it's not rigged, the election is not rigged, which they've been trying to do in 3 states already.
Okay.
If it's a legitimate election,
I don't want to get demonetized over this. I'm not saying that it's rigged. All I'm saying is, you know, for example, when you look at just the media, Trump did an interview with Joe Rogan that had 38 million views on YouTube, and it's been shadow banned. I had a hard time trying to find it. I had to finally just go to Joe Rogan's channel and then click on it. Exactly. Because when you search on it, it didn't come up. And I remember he posted a video on it.
I know.
Which is why he posted on Twitter recently as well.
They shadow banned it.
And it got like 20 million views on Twitter. Whereas Kamala Harris, who we tried to interview, and I was talking to her media team this whole time, and they never granted us an interview, she hasn't had an interview over 1 million views. She did Club Shay Shay, got like 800,000 views after a day, whereas Trump is getting 37 million. She did Call Me Daddy, which got like 600,000 views. And I'm like,
she's a joke.
You guys should really do Vlad TV because we are, you know, one of the biggest platforms. We have 6 million subscribers. We could actually give you an interview that's getting many millions of views. But instead,
how's she going to sit with an interview with you? She can't respond to any legitimate questions.
Well, and here's the thing also, that she was invited to do Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and she put stipulations on it.
She said she's not going to do it in Texas.
Exactly.
She's not going to do 3 hours.
Exactly.
You'd have to come to her. And he said, well, I'm not going to do that. Which to me was a huge mistake on her part.
Of course.
You just saw what Trump did on the same platform. Why not take advantage of this platform if you have an invitation? She's
afraid to answer questions. The woman is incompetent. She can't, even when they're feeding her and they're trying to give her the, soft questions so that she can answer properly, she can't do it. Could you imagine this woman sitting down with Putin or sitting down with the mullahs of Iran or anybody from China?
I could.
Is she kidding me?
I could. I'm not anti-Kamala. I actually think Kamala is potentially a good president.
Oh,
but
Vlad.
That's where me and you could disagree. Me and you could disagree on this. Me and you could disagree, and we could still be friends.
All right. We're good friends. You know what? And that's how it should be. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to quote somebody that
I understand you feel strongly about it, and I respect your opinion on it. I don't bash people who are pro-Trump.
I'm going to quote somebody, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Bill Parcells. You know who he was?
Yeah.
Legendary coach, New York Giants. Right. And one day they were flattering him with everything and all this good stuff. And he turned around and he said, my friends, we are what our record says we are. Period. And that's all you have to say in this whole election. You are what your record says you are. This is Kamala Harris's record and Biden, and this is Trump's record. That's it. You don't have to go any further than that. He was president for 4 years.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say this before we get out the topic. Historically, vice presidents have done nothing. So you can't say what her record is as a vice president under Biden, because Biden's track record under Obama was nothing as well. Vice presidents just sit there unless it's time for them to become president because the president gets killed or dies.
But she has a record in politics. She has a record as attorney general. She's made statements. She was the border czar. She's responsible. And she said she was the last person in the room all the time when Biden made a decision. That makes her an accomplice, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but she's not making those decisions. She's just there. She's just in the room.
Incompetent.
She's just in the room.
And
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.